Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I am Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the family. Okay, it is officially summertime. You know, this is the time where I thrive. I grew up on an island. I grew up in the Caribbean. It was summer all the time. So this is my element, right? So now that it's summertime, I thought I would come and share with you guys my top 10, well not top 10, but just share 10 eyeshadow palettes that would be perfect for the summer. So in full transparency, I actually did watch a bunch of like summer eyeshadow recommendations before this, which I thought was kind of helpful because it made me think of some additional palettes that a few people, well, most people haven't mentioned, because I wanted to give you guys something a little bit different. So for this, a lot of these are going to be like older palettes that you have to dig into your collection for, which I think is great because now is the time to pull out all them palettes that you forgot about. Like, it's not always about the new, right? It's about the products that we have and we love and just remembering why we love them so that we can continue using them. So this isn't going to be in any real order or anything. I'm not going to be doing swatches of all of them. I might do a couple of swatches here and there, but let's dive into this video. So for this, I actually want to start with the eyeshadow palette that came to mind first for me. And that is none other than the Nomad Cosmetics America's Parks palette. Now this was actually my first palette from Nomad. And to be quite honest, when this first released, I was not super impressed, but I thought it was cute, but I was a little bit wary. I wasn't sure if I wanted to try it out. Like, the color story was not what I initially gravitated towards, but now that I've had this in my collection, amazing. First of all, you guys know I love the Nomad Cosmetics formula, so top notch. And what I love about this palette is that you really do get a lot of different looks. So if you wanted to go deep and a little bit grungy, you do have this row here. You get some really nice green shades, and then you have some more warm coppery shades. I love this bottom row here. I particularly love this shade. I love a good orange eyeshadow, just absolutely love. And what I like about the Nomad Cosmetics shimmers is that they're not too in your face. So if you are somebody who doesn't like something that's super high, shiny, sparkly, but you do want a little bit of color and a little bit of sparkle, but not too much, Nomad is a really great brand. And I really do think that this is an amazing option. You know, all of these shades work really well. I do think that there's really good depth in this palette. So if you have a deeper skin tone, every single one of these matte shadows will work for you. And this is like the perfect terracotta matte if you really like orange eyeshadow. So this has to be one that I think you should 100% pull out. Now, I know I've seen a lot of people mention the new Paradise palette, which is definitely, in my opinion, more pastels, a little bit more springy than I prefer, and a little bit lighter than I prefer, but I think that this one gives you the nice versatility of going a little bit light, but also you have some depth in there if you want to deepen things up. The next palette that I want to mention is, again, another old one, and this is a limited edition one, so if you don't have it, please don't be mad at me, but if you do have it, now is a good time to pull it out of your collection. And that is the Annette and Menagerie Cosmetics Serenity palette. This, if you like color, this is so beautiful. I absolutely love this palette. Now, if you don't have this one, I think that this color story is actually quite similar to the Natasha Denona Circo Loco. So if you have that, I don't think you necessarily need both of these. But this is actually what drew me into the Menagerie formula. First of all, I thought this color story was absolutely stunning. I mean, you have to like color if you are going to use this palette or wear this palette, because you don't really get any neutral looks in here. Like, there's no real way to keep this neutral. You can kind of simplify it if you do like these three shades and you just get like a monochromatic purple look, which is not too out there. But the way I love to use this palette is to mix and match. Like, this teal shade, beautiful. And the shimmers in here are literally so beautiful. Like, they are super shiny. Like, oh, look at that. So if you like color, if you want something that's a little bit more colorful for summer, which I know a lot of people like, I think that this is a great one for you to pull out if you have it in your collection. And like I said, I do think the Natasha Denona Circo Loco could be a really nice, not dupe, but, you know, a really nice supplement or replacement if you don't have this palette because it was limited edition. Now, the third palette I actually want to mention is one that is newer And to be honest, I didn't give it the best review, but I still do think it's a perfect palette for summer. And that is the Clino Cosmetics collab palette with Emily Violet Marie, the Dragon Fruit palette. Now, this definitely gives you that summer vibes. It's super neon, bright packaging, which I think is adorable. And when you open this up, it gives color. Like, it gives you that bright color. Now, I will say that you have to like pink to like this palette. So this is definitely the perfect summer palette for somebody that likes those pinky tones. Now, you're going to get the vibrant pinks. You're going to get the more toned down pinks. There are a couple of multi-chromes in here. They're not the strongest multi-chromes. So go take that with a grain of salt. And then you do get these two green shades that are kind of in the neon vein. Now, the Clino Cosmetics eyeshadow formula is definitely super high shine, super sparkly, which is why I think it's also really great for summer, because you know when the sun hits those really sparkly shades, it just looks absolutely amazing. So I think that this is a great one to pull out. And to be quite honest, I don't know when else you would wear this. Like, this is not something that I would want to really wear in the winter or the fall. So I feel like summertime is the perfect time to wear this. And you really, and the satin shades here, they do blend out like a matte. But if you wanted to, you could really just plop a matte down and then go in with one of these shimmer shades and create very, very simple looks. Like, you don't have to do too much with this, which is what I like for summertime too. Like, I prefer to spend the majority of my time outside and not doing my makeup. So for me, it's really about like, how can I do something really simple? And let me just swatch a couple of these for you guys. So here we have Dragantini, Effervescent, and Dragonfly. And you can see that you have a bunch of different textures going on here. And you see how very, very, very pigmented these shadows are. So if you love that super pigmented, reflective eyeshadow, like, this is a really, really beautiful multi-chrome. So it's one of those shades where if you just plop one matte down and then you go over with a shadow, a shimmer shade on top, you have a really simple stunning look that looks really multi-dimensional because these shades have so much sparkle to them. This is a messy palette though. So like, if you have this, make sure you do your base first, because you will have glitter flecks everywhere. So palettes 4 and 5 are from my absolute favorite eyeshadow brand. You guys know that I had to mention none other than Mother Pat. So for palette number 4, my recommendation is to pull out your Decadence Mothership. Now, we all know that the Motherships are the best things that Pat has to offer, and I really like Decadence. This is a bit, okay. And I know people either love Decadence or they hate Decadence. And part of that is because Decadence is an all shimmer mothership. Here's the thing though. The best part about, in my opinion, about Pat's motherships is that you get those special shades. Now this does not have any of the special shades, which is why I understand why there's a group of people who hate this palette, because there are no special shades in here. It's literally just her standard shimmer formula. So I get that. But what I will say is that Pat's standard metallic formula is amazing. Like, this was the first time I actually experienced shimmer shades that blend out like mattes. And what that means though is you can literally go in with one shade and have it look multiple ways. So you can go in with one shade, blend it out and have it look like a matte, and then you can go right over that shade with that same shade and not blend it out and have it look like a shimmer, right? Mind blown. And that's why I love this. And the reason why I wanted to recommend this palette is, one, because it is pretty nice and colorful, but also very neutral if you don't like too much color. Because I do believe that there's a subset of people that, even if it is summertime, they still want to keep it in that neutral vein. And I think that this gives you color, but not too much where it's overwhelming. And this, in my opinion, is like the perfect palette for a one and done look. Like, you literally have to pick one shadow and you plop that all over your lid, and then you can just blend out the edges so that you have a little bit of like transition. You get something that looks a little bit more matte, and then it gets to become a shimmer, and then you're done with it. This also smells really good. I can't remember, but I do believe that there is a fragrance in this. It smells like vanilla. It smells amazing. Oh my gosh. Yes. So this is definitely a mothership I think everybody should own. And it's a really great one if you want to pull it out. Now, if you don't want to do a one and done shade, there's definitely a lot of shades you can match. This is a really great one for just like a deepening up shade. So this is a great kind of like outer V shade. So you can start with this and then you can plop any one of the other shadows on the lid. You can mix and match these two blues. If you stick with these three, you can get a pretty sort of neutral look, and then you have like silver-ish looks. So you can do so much looks with this palette. And I think it's really underrated because it doesn't have that special formula. But I really do think this is a great palette if you are not looking for that super special sparkly shimmer formula, which I do know that there's a subset of people who just don't want all that high shine, high sparkle. Especially if you have like textured lids and that's an issue for you. Those types of shades can really, really, I don't want to say look, they can emphasize texture on your lids. Now, if you don't want to pull out your big mothership, you can pull out your Mothership Mega. And for this one, I'm actually recommending the OG Pat McGrath Mothership. And I think that this is actually the perfect year-round palette. Now, when I look at this, I definitely see fall because you do get some really grungy shades. But you know I had to throw in something here for my grungy girls. Because while this is definitely a little bit deeper and richer, I think that this is colorful enough that it's like perfect for summertime. I think you get the blues, you get the you get the pinks, you get the purples, you get the golds, you get a little bit of grungy green. So if you are somebody that likes a little bit more of a grungy color story, regardless of whether or not it is summer, spring, fall, but grunge is your theme, I think that this is an absolutely perfect palette. I also think that you get some really interesting textures here. Now, you do only really get 3 matte shades, but you have some smoother shimmers and then some more textured shimmers. This one is kind of like a duochrome shade. This one reminds me a lot of Gigabyte from the Mothership 3 Subversive. So I think that this is a really, really versatile palette, and it's one that I think is honestly a true year-round palette that you can use. The packaging in this is trash though. My sticker is still crooked and I will never let that go. This crooked sticker will bother me till the day I pan this palette. So that was palette number 5. Now for palette number 6, I'm going to cheat a little bit and bring in 2 palettes, but honestly I think that these work perfectly together. This is another oldie but a goodie, and I am talking about the OG Rare Beauty palettes. These are so cute. Now these were supposed to be limited edition. But I don't think they sold out, so I'm pretty sure that these are still available to purchase. And I think these are amazing eyeshadows. I definitely don't reach for them or haven't reached for them in a while, but I think that they're really great to pull out. So this first one here is Magnetic Spirit, and this second one is Confident Energy. And I think that these pair so perfectly together. This is another all shimmer palette as well. Well, both of these are all shimmer palettes. And what I like about these is that the formula kind of reminds me a lot of the Pat McGrath formula I just talked about, in that you can actually blend these out and they look really, really good. So these are, again, came to mind for me because one, you have like super colorful, a little bit bright, more more light and airy, and then you have a little bit deeper, but not too deep. Like you do get a nice deepening shade, but the rest of this is still relatively light. And because this is a shimmer shade that is very similar to Pat's, you can actually just plop one and done looks on the lid. So you can pick one shade and put it all over your lid and then blend out the edges and you're good to go. Or you can use multiple shades and then you can use one of these shades as a matte because it blends out so very, very nicely. So I think that if you have these older palettes, now is such a good time to pull them out. They work really well. I thought the quality in this was superb. I've also heard Morgan Turner say that, you know, this quality is better than the new palettes that Rare Beauty has released. So I say it's a good one. And these, when I picked these up, they were $25 a piece. So not super expensive, to be honest. I mean, granted, the whole brand is pretty affordable. And then I'm going to cheat again because I have another pair of palettes. And it's definitely cheating, but honestly, these two work so perfectly well together that I have to mention them. And that is the Salman 2 palette from Odenzai and the Adept Cosmetics House of L palette. Now, I do have a review up on this, and you'll see that I am not in love with the mattes in this. I'm not sure that this is the best value, so I will make sure to link that down below. And I think I have a video on this one too, and I actually really enjoy this. So the Solman 2 is from Odenzai Cosmetics. It's inspired by the moon and the sun, and it really goes in like 3 rows. So you have blue, purple, orange, and I think that this is a really, really nice summer palette. I think that you do get these really bright shades, but you also get some really nice deep shades to, you know, give things a little bit of grunge if you want to. And then on the Adept Cosmetics side, this is the House of L palette. Now this is inspired by Superman, and you'll see you get some of those really nice reds. I don't like these mattes. So the reason why I'm pairing this with this is because I think that the mattes here are completely unusable, but the shimmer shades in here are perfection, and I think they pair so well with this palette. Like, I have used these shades with the mattes in this palette, and I absolutely love it. And one of the things about this palette that I think is slightly disappointing is that every single shimmer formula in here is pretty much the exact same. Like, you don't really get any dimension. This is very different from other palettes that I have from the brand. If you have the Legendary Diversa collab palettes, you know that those palettes included a multi-chrome. You don't get any of that in here. So because you really only get standard shimmers, I like pairing this palette with this one because you really do get these multi-dimensional shimmers from Adept Cosmetics that pair so well. So what you can do is you can actually use the blue and the green shade from this palette with the blue row from this palette. You can use the red, orange, even pinky shades here with the, so you can use the pink shade with the purple row and get a really nice look. You can use the red shades with the bottom copper row and get a really nice look. So I think that the shimmers in here are really great for amping up this palette by giving you different textures and, you know, really nice multi-chromes. And the mattes in here are what you need to work with this palette because Adept makes some of the most horrible mattes I've ever used, and you just can't use the mattes in this palette. So I'm counting this as one palette because to me they work perfectly together. So we have 3 palettes left. Palette number 7 is one that you probably have never heard about, but it's actually from a brand that I have really been enjoying lately, and that is Spellbound Beauty, and this is their Oracle palette. Now I do have a video on their Cult palette from a couple of months back, and I really enjoyed the formula in that one. And this is the Oracle palette. Look at how beautiful this is. Like, it is such a gorgeous, colorful palette. I don't know what it is about this palette, but it always inspires me and it always gives me a little tingle because I think that the shades in here are so beautiful. Now, the special thing to me about the Oracle palettes, or sorry, the Spellbound palettes, is the formula. Fair warning, if you like high impact shimmers, if you like super sparkly, you're not going to get it. This is very much a satin-like shimmer formula, but sometimes I want that. Sometimes I want something that's not going to be too much, and this gives me that. The Spellbound formula gives me that. So if you want to wear color, but you don't want to wear color in a way where it's like sparkle and too much shimmer and too much glitter, this is the palette for you. And these are really affordable. I'm pretty sure this was less than $20 a piece, so in terms of this and the other palette. So if you are looking for a really nice colorful palette that is not super sparkly or shimmery and that has a really nice satin formula, which I think is perfect for more mature lids or people who have like texture on their lids that they are concerned about, I think you would really enjoy this one. So palette number 9 in my recommendations is going to go to the Natasha Denona Trio Chrome palette. Now, you guys know that I absolutely love this palette. I think it is perfection, and I had to put it in this video. Here's the thing. When it comes to summer, for me, I really like simplicity. I need palettes that are going to give me quick, easy looks because I want to be outside. I want to be in the sun. I don't want to be sitting here finicking and fussing with an eyeshadow palette. So I'm always looking for really nice palettes that will give you quick, easy looks that look like you put in more work than you did. And I think that this is one of these palettes. This has to be some of my favorite mattes from Natasha Denona, period. The mattes really are the star of the show when it comes to this palette. And every single matte in here works. I know some of these look a little bit more dusty and more ashy, but they actually work really, really well on my complexion, and they have more depth than they appear. And you get these 3 trio chrome, multi-chrome shades. She calls them trio chrome shades. And I think that is what gives this palette that edge because they are multi-chromes. Like, you really can put down 1 or 2 mattes and then you put one of these multi-chrome shades on top of it, and your look looks more multi-dimensional because you have an eyeshadow that has all of these different shifts to it. So depending on where you turn, depending on what light you are in, it looks like you have something else on your eyes. And it makes it, and that's the reason why I think a lot of people like multi-chromes, because it makes it look like you did more work than you actually did, because you have all of these different shifts and dimensions and colors. Now, this is definitely not the strongest multi-chrome you will find on the market, but I kind of like that, because this is the type of shade, the multi-chromes here, are the types of shades that I would wear to work. They are the types of shades that I would wear to something that's a little bit more professional or a little bit more upscale without feeling like my eyeshadow is too distracting. So if you are somebody that wants to wear multi-chromes, but you don't want these super high impact ones that can be a little bit in your face and distracting, I think you would really like this. And if you just want some really good mattes, honestly, these mattes in here are phenomenal. So that's why I like this palette a lot and had to recommend it, because this is one that I can literally reach for and pull together a really quick look and have it look like I actually did more work than I did. However, though, for palette number 10, I wanted to recommend something that takes the multi-chromes to another level. So I had to pull out none other than the Janessa Myrick's Lightwork Volume 3. I really hope she brings this back. Like, this was limited edition, and I am praying for y'all that she brings this back, because this was everything. This is so amazing, and this is such a versatile palette, because you have these 4 large shades here that work really well as highlighters, but they're also sort of multi-chrome iridescent shades, so you can actually plop them on top of like a black base or any base, and it gives a lot of dimension. And the same sort of reason why I brought the Natasha Denona Trio Chrome is for this, because you really only need one shade, and she's given you one black matte shade, and then you plop a multi-chrome and you have a look. That's it, 2 shades. And in addition to this black matte, which is like a cream to powder matte formula, she also gave us 2 cream shades, which have not creased on my lids. And to be fair, I don't have lids that crease at all, really. So it may be creasy for other people, but you do have 2 cream shades that I think work really well. I've never experienced any creasing. The only shade that I don't care for is the Orion shade, because it is a pressed glitter. But if you like pressed glitters, you have it there. And I think it's such a great one because you really do get that versatility. You get the multi-chrome shades. You get a ton of multi-chrome shades, including an iridescent multi-chrome formula. You get some cream shades. You get a cream to powder matte. And you get a pressed glitter. So you really get everything in this palette. And like I said, it's one of these palettes where honestly you just plop a matte on there, you plop a multi-chrome, and you have one of the most multi-dimensional looks. And the multi-chromes in here are not like the ones in Sheer Chrome. These are true multi-chromes that are gonna give you that high shine, very, very shifty, very reflective, almost wet looking finish, which if you are really into that, you would love this. So if you have this in your collection, now is the time to pull it out. Now is definitely the time to pull it out. Where did this fly come from? Okay, and that is it. Those are the 10 eyeshadow palettes that I have to recommend you pull out for the summertime. Honestly, I probably should have said this at the top. Like, eyeshadow is whatever you want it to be. So you don't have to have specific eyeshadows for specific seasons. So if you are feeling a different color story, then absolutely pull that out. Just make sure you're using the products that you have in your collection. If you like this video, I would absolutely love if you would hit that like button, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so and you are enjoying this content, don't forget to subscribe. My earrings are literally falling out of my ears. Don't forget to subscribe, join the fam. Leave a comment down below letting me know your favorite eyeshadow palette for the summertime, because I always love getting, watching these videos, because they do remind me to go into my collection and pull out some of my old faves. So that's it. Like I say, like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend if you think they will enjoy the content. And as always, thank you guys so very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!